Hey y'all, welcome to Fiasco Factory. My name is Michael, and I like grindy indie games, and I hope you guys do too. This is one of the grindiest indie games of all time. It's called FortressCraft Evolved, and it's kind of like Minecraft and Factorio had an evil baby. Very, very similar conditions to Factorio. We crash land on a planet. We have to research and tech our way up into higher technologies to beat the local bug population. The bugs are going to be harassing us a lot. Anyway, this game has been out for a few years. I picked it up a couple years ago and have played it a lot, although I haven't really played it all the way through. I've gotten to the point of sort of charging the big laser that's going to blow up the bugs, but I've never gone through with the final game. I'm hoping to finish it with you guys. I believe that we are nearing completion of the early access stage of this game. I think so. I think most of the new features are in. So let's jump into it and check it out. Let's see, we're going to get a new world. It has a little random name here. I'm just going to go with WorldBot. That's fine with me. There's a seed if you guys want to play along with it. And for options, I'm going to just take what they give us here. And they've got a few things that you can do. So resource level, we're going rapid resource level. And we've got a little par time here, they call it. So 30 hours. Probably going to take me a hell of a lot longer than that, but whatever. If we go with a tougher thing, let's see, plentiful. Slightly worse, yeah, even though it sounds like more than rapid, it's not. Plentiful is not that great. And then we have scarce. You can see the par time has gone to 340 hours, and then Greg, par time 800 hours. Ain't nobody got time for that, so we're going to go with rapid. It will definitely be a thing. I think this changes how quickly ore turns into bars, so I think with rapid it's like 2 to 1 or something, and I think with the slower ones it's like 4 to 1. So anyway, there you go. Your mileage may vary. Power level, I'm not entirely sure what that is, but balanced power generation. Slow down early game progression. No fun there. That adds about 50% more time. Conveyor speed, you got fast and slow. We're going to go with fast. Day-night cycle, you can choose. Eternal night, eternal day. We'll go with normal. The game has some rather extreme lighting effects, so if you're prone, if you have any form of epilepsy, I don't suggest playing this game because it will probably send you into a seizure. It's that flashy and bright and crazy. Sometimes it's very hard to see what's going on. If you want it a little bit easier, pick Eternal Day. That way you have a suit power level. You're going to upgrade your suit as you go along, but to start with, you kind of have a really limited amount of power, and it really limits what you can do. So Eternal Day will help that out. We're going to go with normal, though, so we get the full range of insane lighting effects. We've got normal mobs. You could choose hard mobs. You could choose trivial mobs. We'll go with normal. There's a death mode here. None means you just sort of respawn back at your main base with all your stuff intact. You can make it so that you drop all your inventory, kind of like a Minecraft style thing. You have to go back and pick it up. Iron Man is a one-time thing. You lose your entire inventory on death, and this is hardcore. This is you get one shot. Okay, there's squish core and hardcore. I'm not sure what the difference is. Whatever, we're not going to go with that. We're going to go with none, and we're not going to do rush mode. What is rush mode? Oh, I see. That turns everything up. We're not going to do with that either. So we're going to go with this. If you've completed the game to its satisfaction, you get the flat land option where you can make the world just totally flat, easier for building. It's pretty rugged terrain, and then you can also get a care package, which I think has some upgraded tools that you would normally have to work your way through. If you have the brand new Adventure Pack DLC, you can choose some of these mutators, which are interesting ways to modify the game. Some of them make things easier, some of them make things harder. I don't think I'm going to take any of these, though. And we're just going to go with Create World. Now, this takes a little while to load up, so let's talk about it. Talk about the world a little bit. We're going to crash land on this sort of Minecraft-looking world. And we're going to have some really basic tools. And we're going to have a thing called the Central Power Hub. And the Central Power Hub is kind of like our core base component. The bugs are going to target it. They may knock it out, in which case we'll lose power. I don't know how it affects, like if we got some research going, it may stop that. It definitely stops your charging of the defensive towers, and that's one of the reasons I've never really made it all the way through, is because you just get these ever-escalating bug attacks, and they get pretty nutty. So you really have to have your defenses in place before you start going after these key bug bosses, which are called the hive mind. So we always get this little animation here. If you look on the dashboard, you can see the right-hand side system is misspelled, and it has been since I started playing the game. I don't think that's ever going to get fixed. I guess it's okay. I'm used to it now. And we've landed on the planet, and it'll still take a minute to load here. Good quote from War of the Worlds. Our little bug bot that hangs out with us, Arthur, he's sacrificed himself, and we're going to have to repair him. In the meantime, we're going to get led by the nose through this little tutorial. You ain't skipping this tutorial. I don't care how many times you played the game. So we're just going to do what it says do and not argue with it. So we'll look at the CPH, the Central Power Hub, and we're going to press E to open its interface. In general, you press E to open an interface of any machine if it has an interface, and that's how it works. So you can see it has a power level. We can see our power level. We could add power from our suit to it, or we could take power from it. It doesn't have any right now. Notice our suit power level's going up. We have like a little bit of solar recharge going on. What we're going to do is we're just going to add resources though, and that'll throw a little bit of coal in it. Coal is our primary power to begin with. And then we have power storage batteries, or PSBs, and there's a PSB right there, and it can provide power to other machines. Right now it's getting powered by the CPH, but if we press Q, we'll grab some power out of it. And then now we're going to look at the ore extractor, which is over here. Piece of coal, or actually a coal vein here. And we can look more at veins and how they work later on. But this is our ore extractor. It's like a little drill. It's got some upgrade options. We can put in a different kind of cutter head. We can put in a motor. Right now it's got like super crappy efficiency, 10%, 16 ore per minute, and 0.45 power per second. That will change as you do these things here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add power until they're happy with it. I think we got to put 200 in there. And so this guy, when it gets ore from that thing, and that vein will eventually deplete, and it's going to drop its ore into here, and we can grab it out. We can open an interface on here, or we can use, if you look down at the lower left, there's some directions about what to do with it. We're just going to press Q to get everything that's in it. And now we got a scanner. So this little scanner here, you can see the little question marks pop up when we don't know some item, and we pretty much don't know anything right now. We're going to press right mouse button to scan. This thing will do some other stuff too. Like it'll locate unknown items. It'll locate ores that we know about. Later on, we'll be able to see what those ores are once we get our technology up. So for now, though, we've scanned an item and we need to research it. And what happens when we research it over here at this research thing? We have a list of items that we've scanned and we don't know about. We've got shows our power and our CPH, how much power it's going to require to research it, and then the effects of it. So we're just going to process this, and they're not even going to let us see the results. We're supposed to go over here and craft Arthur a power core. This is our crafting bench, Minecraft crafting bench, except we can't move this. We don't have the tool needed to move this. We got to upgrade our gadgets in order to do that. Later on, we'll be able to build more of these, and they can be used in automated processes. But for now, we're just going to go in here. Along the top, you've got... I'm tutorializing this a little bit, by the way. I don't think it's widely played. I mean, it's a fairly popular game, but it's not like Factorio level popular. So maybe you haven't played it, maybe you have. If you have, just ignore me. Probably will anyway. We got mining, we got power storage, we got power transmission, we got logistics, we got storage, we got Arthur upgrades, defenses, and this is just like random shite. It's called consumables. I don't know why it has a little local flower. Anyway, what they want us to build is an Arthur power core, which will let him carry more power, I believe. Maybe it just gets him going again, actually. I don't think it does much. I think we build him a better battery later on. And so we finished the main part of the tutorial. They still want us to do some stuff. They want us to build some things here, so let's do that. And Arthur here wants us to press H to open the handbook. This is the telliest game in the history of games, by the way. This little dude here will boss you around. If you look at a machine like this ore thing here, you can see it says offline warning true. I'm going to press T to turn that off because it will bug the crap out of you. Now, unfortunately, that offline warning is useful because it'll tell you when a vein is depleted, but, you know, keep an eye on it or something. Find a different way. So, anyway, down here on our toolbar, you can see we've got some items. Well, this is a conveyor belt. They've helpfully given us 3 little conveyor belts. So I'm just left-clicking with my little orc build gun over here. Looks like a 40K orc device. So I'm going to put those down, and then it wants a hopper. So these are really cool hoppers. They hold like 100 of an item. And these little things here, logistics hoppers, they don't hold that much. They hold 2 items, but I think they move things pretty quickly, although it does say somewhat slow. There's another kind of hopper that I don't think we have. Yeah, if you press I, you can get your inventory open. If you press C, you get a little crafting menu. We can make these mini hoppers. We can just convert them. Oh no, I guess it takes 4 of them to make one of these. It'll hold up to 10, but it transfers very slowly. So anyway, there's your hopper tutorial. Our ideal goal is to get those guys, but these little ones can be useful sometimes, and we're going to be using them early on because we need some next level resources to get that going. So what I just put there is a laser energy transmitter. It transmits energy a certain range. If we look here, you can see how much it's transferring. We can put lenses in here to change that. We can change the way it fires. We can make it wait for a full charge before it does anything. Whatever. So we got our build gun. That's gotten pressing the X key, but we can also press the M key, and you'll see that we have block scan but not researched. We don't know what this thing under the CPH is. I'll tell you, it's an induction charging pad, which is like a 5x5 block that shares energy. So if you've got a generator and a user on the same thing. See this big rock over here? We don't know what this is. There's a lot of stuff in the environment that we don't know, and we're going to just keep finding more of it. And we need it because this generates research points that we can then use to learn new recipes and to do all kinds of good things. See the grass growing in when we get there. These big things here, there are a few different types of them, so you want to make sure you can see it and scan it. Okay, it looks like we've got a new item up here. I think that's going to be snow, probably. So it's worth it just to sort of tag around the environment, look for stuff, and see if you don't know it. Scan it, get those research points going. Off in the 4 corner directions, non-orthogonal, non-north, south, east, west, so northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, are big bad guys, and we'll eventually meet those big bad guys. But for now, they're just going to keep sending wave after wave of BS at us. So if we want to chop down a block, right mouse with your build gun, that'll remove it, and it'll go into your inventory. If you don't know it, it'll be in your inventory with a question mark, and it'll count as having scanned it. For these really big items, like that thing there, and this thing here, which it says is unknown, I thought we scanned it. But you hold shift. If I try to right click, it'll say too big to break, use left shift. So that is the same for multi-block machines and for big environmental things like these rocks and those trees over there. There's some coal. But these things drop, you'll notice that we collected some unknown material. These things drop ore. And let's talk about ore. So we've got coal, which we've seen. We also have copper and tin, which are basic level ores. And then beyond that, we have iron and lithium. And those 4 comprise what I think the game refers to as Tier 1 ores. They're all available fairly close to the surface. Tin and copper are available on the surface. Iron is available about 64 blocks down. We got the typical computer, binary progression there. 64 blocks. Lithium is available at about 128 blocks down. And there are different environments underground. This is not Minecraft, not 256 blocks high world. It is actually, I don't even know how high. I believe at least 10,000 deep and maybe further than that. And after we complete the quest to kill off the big bad guys, sorry, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. I'm trying to make sure I get all these blocks. I can't really see them, so I'm waiting for them to come to me. Anyway, even after we do that, if you get the Frozen Factory DLC, which is a fairly inexpensive add-on to this, you can fight yet another enemy, an underground enemy. And do we know what this is? It has been scanned but not researched. Okay. Can't tell these things. See, there's a red one over there. I think we'll need to scan that one as well. But we got a fair bit of copper and tin to start off with. Let's check this guy out. This guy should be, usually when you roll over a block, it'll tell you whether you know what it is or not. But sometimes it's out of sync. Already scanned, yeah. Sometimes it's a little unclear. Like you'll pass over something and it'll like unknown block detected, and then have to kind of look around for it. I'm just going to grab all of these that are within reach. Looks like there's some more over that way. We'll go ahead and do that. This takes a little bit of time and effort to run around and scan things. We probably don't know this, right? Yeah. But, you know, it's worth it. You're going to have to do it at some point, and there's no huge rush. There's no great reason to get started. The bugs here, rather like the bugs in Factorio, and I keep referencing Factorio because I expect more people are familiar with it, are triggered not by pollution directly, but in this game, power generation. So the more power you generate, and as you get further along, you will need to generate more power, the more you will get attacked by these bug things. And we're talking about, you start dealing with some sort of magnificent power levels. If you look up in our upper left-hand corner, you'll see a battery. And that battery is limited to 256 right now. Later on, we're going to raise it to 512, but I think that might be the max that we get to. Down in there is a glowy thing that we'll want to check out. Anywho, my goodness, I'm sorry. There's a lot going on in this game. I mean, one-armed paper hanger over here. So you will be just kind of running around doing stuff like crazy. Let me try to think of what the heck I was talking about, but yeah, you know, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. We're just gonna research all this crap. We're gonna mess around about it, and then we're gonna get some ore smelting. What was I saying? Power generation attracting attacks. Yeah, that's it. And your power generation just scales massively as you go along. So right now we're dealing with fairly small amounts of power. We're going to start dealing with millions of power at some point. So now that we've got some items researched, we don't have anything left in our scan queue. We've got projects that we can do. You can read all the details if you want to, but essentially these are going to open up new avenues of research, and they're going to open up new recipes that we can build. Later on, we're not going to be using this research bench. We're going to be kind of Factorio-like, building research pods that we're going to be feeding into a giant energy-consuming research station. So again, the power, the resources getting used, etc. I mean, it's your main sink for resources is getting this stuff done, and then your main sink for power until you get to the point of charging your orbital laser or whatever. So we're going to research that. Notice it costs a certain amount of research points. Here's our research points up here. Oh, and there's a progress bar. I was unaware of that. So I'm just going to research these things. Base building is a rather new item. Lets you enclose things in rooms, and I haven't played with it at all, so I'm curious to do that. We've got to wait for power to build back up. This one takes 550, and we didn't have enough. We're going to do... I want to get through all of these. It's going to use the bulk of our research points, but it's going to tech us into some equipment that we can build. Laboratories is our next stage of researching. We'll get into that a little bit. Now we're getting into stuff that has little dash dash. And little dash dash means you got to use one of those fancy big research machines I talked about to do anything with those. So we'll have to get around to that before too long. This guy over here is our smelter. You can look in here. He's got a power level. Requires 2 ore to make 1 bar. And you can feed it in manually, but I do not suggest it. So let's go. I'm clearing off my hotbar here by pressing right mouse button on these little squares. F1 to F7 get you 2 different toolbars. I usually arrange these fairly usually do it like this. I do tin, I do copper. Later I'll do iron, lithium, and then the second tier ores, and then we're going to get to third tier ores, and it's going to get complicated. But hopefully we're not carrying a bunch of ore around at that point. Hopefully it's fully automated. But for now, it ain't. So let's see what we want here. These are torches. They're pretty handy. You like to have a block to build with, and we'll talk about building stuff later. That'll be there's a lot of really neat things in this. I'm going to take that. I guess I'll put these conveyor belts here. These are slow conveyor belts. These are pretty fast ones, but the ones we're working with there are super slow. We'll want to upgrade those when we can. So I'm going to put down a hopper on either side of this, and you notice it says add and remove. If it's add and remove, a machine that's attached to it can just take stuff out, put stuff in, right? So if we put a bunch of ore in here, it'll take the ore out, it'll cook the bar, it might put it in here, it might put it over there. I don't know. It seems random to me, but maybe there's a scheme that the game uses. But we can lock it, so we can make it remove only, and machines will only be able to remove things from here. Conveyor belts can put things in, but machines cannot. So important to remember that. If you put hoppers next to each other, they can share inventory. So there's lots of things that you want to pay attention to when you start messing around with these things, especially in a compact setup. So we made that remove only, we made that add only. If I switch to my toolbar where I've put this tin and copper, I can add stuff to it. So if you see, T will store 100 tin ore, Shift will store 10, and Control will store 1. Now, here's some more telliness. We'll get lots of those during the game. You see that it says, you know, T will store 100, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you got to press T twice. Sometimes it'll put 57. I don't know why. It's an empty hopper. It puts 57. So anyway, we put some tin in here. This thing's got to heat up before it's going to start smelting at all. That's an important thing to note because it takes energy and time to heat up. And if this runs dry, this thing will go, okay, nothing else to smelt. It'll cool off again. You would like your input to this thing to be about as quick as possible. So in order to do that, we need to find some tin and some copper to mine here. So at the handy scanner, I pressed M on that guy. We can ping unknown, we can ping known ore. Now remember that we know copper and tin, right? So if we ping that, copper, tin, and coal are about the only thing we know. We should get a view. Now, it's giving us colors here. So green is copper and blue is tin. It looks like there is tin and copper over here in the pit where our machine crashed. So what we could do is we can dig down to that. Now here goes the sort of grand mal inducing behavior of the game here with this glow. Sometimes that fades right away. Sometimes it doesn't fade for a long time. We'll throw a torch down here on either side. These torches, by the way, and other things can be rotated once you put them down by pressing the R key. That's pretty cool. Pretty handy to have sometimes. But notice it's pretty hard to see exactly what's going on here because of that glow. It always seems. I mean, I'm sure it's just that subjective kind of perception thing, but it seems like the stuff, you know, like I want to dig to this thing and I can't really see. Seems like that stays lit up, but when it's, oh gosh, my little lithium vein that I found, no, and I'm out of power and can't scan again, yeah, that fades like super quick. You know, it could just be, again, subjective perception, but it sure as hell seems like it sometimes. All right, so I'm just digging down here. Our digging options are many. We can just sort of right click one at a time. You can hold down the right mouse button, and that'll just keep digging. And you can also do what's called super digging. So if I press the control key and right click, it'll super dig. And what that does is it just digs really fast, but it uses a heck of a lot of power. You also cannot dig this stuff up. That's how you use an ore extractor, and it'll drop a thing called rubble. But you can super dig that stuff out of there. It does take a hell of a lot of power. So you probably want some technology to help you out with that. An upgraded suit. There are little batteries you can carry around with you. Now I know there's copper right down here too. So where exactly is it? Looks like it's on the right a little bit. Alright. Let's throw a torch down here. A torch sometimes will dispel some of the glowy stuff, or at least make it less distracting. Because the glowy stuff doesn't really light up anything in the environment. Hello. This is a slime here. You can kill these guys if you want to. Right now we don't have a gun. But you can kill them, and they will drop resources. So, bug parts, the biotech of the bug parts is a key part of the game later on. We'll be needing some of their components, and we may do something that will attract these guys. But for now, we're not going to mess with them. They will shoot you back. So if we did have a gun and we did shoot that guy, he would do a fair bit of damage to us, but he's not going to bother us right now. So we got an extractor, okay, on copper and tin. Let's just throw a hopper down next to them. We don't need to put change that to add and remove or whatever. We got some coal right there, and it's probably right on top of this machine. Let's get under here and let's dig straight up. We'll super dig it. No, good. We can get out. All right, and I'll tell you why. Remember the little laser transmitter things? We would like a way to power these things up. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot the laser transmitter thing down here, down those little shafts. And let's get back up here. Let's see if we can go find them, not fall into them, hopefully. There is one, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just do this, and what I'll do is I'll throw a little light here so we can see that. And then we're going to want to beam over from our power plant. We're going to want to beam over some energy to these guys. Later on we can build little generators and stuff, but you guys kind of in my way now. So, and all this grass is in my way. I want y'all to just mosey on a little bit. These energy transmitters, which I don't have on my hotbar, are they'll start out the direction you're facing. So I'm facing this way. We'll send the laser there. What I'm doing with that is I'm just checking it out. I'm just seeing where that thing's going to end up. And in fact, I'll go ahead and put one right here too. And we'll pick those up in a minute. So we need power to come like right where those things are, and unfortunately, they've made it a little bit difficult for us because it doesn't line up with the CPH. Anyway, we've got a scan here. Let's do the scan. One more note: keep grabbing this coal. This thing's going to run out if we get our scanner and we hold down right-click on it. It'll scan the vein for us and tell us what's there. So 0.3 million. It's not going to last that long. It'll last a good long time, though. And this CPH, it really doesn't use that much. So we can just grab coal out of there. The reason we grab coal out of there is because coal is converted directly into these lights here. And this is not Minecraft, so we have hella range here. I can throw a torch all the way over there, maybe even further, and I can dig all the way over there. So anyway, wanna carry some coal around with you so you can throw lights down where you need to. And unfortunately, I've let this thing run dry with all my yapping around, but I'm just gonna fill it up again and let it go. I'm not too anxious about it. So what we need to do is get some power up here, and I think the best way to do that, let's see if we can do this here. We have some power storage blocks, right? Yeah, we do. What I'm going to do, these two beams are more or less next to each other, right? And they're hitting out right about here. So I think that if I build, again, don't have to jump place, can just shoot them under us. So another improvement over a lot of these block type games. So those beams are passing on either side of this thing. If we put a power storage block right here, you do take fall damage, but it takes a little while. It takes a little distance before you have a problem. Now, you can see we're going to remove those over there. But if I put a laser thingy there and a laser thingy there, rotate it so it faces that way, and then I'm going to put one right there. So we're going to go from the CPH up to this thing, you can look, you can see that it's getting a little bit of power, but it's sending that power. Well, that power is not actually going to anything, although maybe these are picking up power. I don't know. I think they are. I think they connected to each other. But what we can do is look where these things go, and then throw down a couple of these guys there. And now if we go back in the basement here, we ought to see these things starting to get power. Yeah, it has a little bit. Now, if we wanted to, if we couldn't get power to it right away, we can give it power from our suit. But notice our battery power goes down. You can also see there's a battery use rate there. Right now it's 0.0, and that's because I'm standing near a torch, which provides some warmth. If I get up here, you see it's going up again, and then it goes red. It's because I'm too close to the torch, and the torch is making me hot. So I get out here. Our power use is about almost 1. It's because it's very cold on the surface. Underground, it's even worse in certain places, so gotta be cognizant of all that. So we're going to want to conveyor that stuff back here, but for now, we're going to be hand handling it. Just pressed R instead of T. Does get to be a problem sometimes. Often hitting the wrong keys. So let's go take a look at conveyors and how those are going to work. We're going to want to bring a conveyor belt from this hopper. If you put a conveyor belt by a hopper, it'll suck resources out of it. And we're going to want to bring them over to that. I guess. Probably not, actually. We're probably going to want to do some other thing. So we're going to just grab these by hand, but ideally that's what you want to do, is pipe these things around. The reason I say no is because that's a really good ore smelter. Well, in the grand scheme of things, it's a really good ore smelter. And we've been given some of these basic ore smelters, which are pretty crappy, to be honest about it. But they're what we got. We can power these things up, and we can set up a tin line and a copper line and have those things powered up. I'm not sure they're coming in the right place there. We'll need to make sure. I guess they're probably not. So we'll move these around. We can pick these up. We cannot pick this one up, and we also cannot build a new one yet. So before too long, we will be able to build a new one, and we will do. But for now, we are stuck with this. I'm going to want to put iron and lithium, which I'm going to be bringing up from below by hand in there. So we're going to use our crappy smelters to get tin and copper, which we need a steady stream of, but is not particularly rare, right? So let's look in here and see what we can build. So we can build a pyrothermic generator. This thing would power one of our smelters if we needed it to, and we will need it to. We could build ore extractors, but you notice we need iron gear. Here we need iron gear for this ore extractor. So we need all these intermediary products made out of iron. And we're going to have to work towards that. This, however, forced induction will go on our current good smelter. It won't go on those cheap ones, but it'll go on our current good smelter. It'll increase speed by twice, but it increases power usage by 4. Perfectly fine to throw it over here on the CPH. But in order to build it, we need copper wire and lightweight machine housings, which is a whole section on automating over here. So we can make copper wires. Copper wires are made. We can make plates here, so we can turn any kind of ore into a plate, and those are used in construction of certain things. And we can turn any kind of thing into a wire using this thing here. So let's build one of these. We just need bars for it.
Crafting.
And then we're going to want to build one of these, but we need some tin plate first. So just want to make sure we keep this thing going. And I want to make sure to empty these because they will get full at 100. They'll get full at 100, but the miners themselves will hold 24 as well. So you got 124 spots. And you can put more than one hopper there if you've got them. So anyway, back to... want to get that in there. Alright, let's see. Back to our hotbar here. We've got one of these big hoppers. I'm going to take it off my hotbar. I'm going to put some of these crummy logistics hoppers on. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because we're not going to be using that anytime soon. We're not going to be using these things anytime soon either. So, let's put this thing down. This is our stamper plant. Where are we going to put that? I don't know. Let's just put it right there. You can see it's got kind of a conveyor belt thing. This one works like it says on the tin, stuff comes in here and goes out here, so we don't have to worry too much about it. Some machines will just randomly put it into whatever hopper they're attached to. Anyway, to make this happen, we need some tin bars, so we've got some tin bars. I'm going to put those on my third hotbar. I notice here we have some bug parts, by the way. So I'm going to put 3 of these in here. I want to be a little skimpy on resources for now, just because we are pretty limited for a little while. So I'm not going to be making hundreds of things that I don't necessarily need immediately. We're going to be a just-in-time inventory situation going on here. We've got to take that out because it only holds 2. And we'll come back over here and we can make an extrusion plant. So let's craft one of those. And let's put that thing down. We'll put it right there. And we'll throw these hoppers on it. I guess I'll turn that this way too. And then what do we need again for that gadget? Let's see. What we're looking for, we were looking at force induction, right? We need 20 copper wire and a lightweight machine housing. So now we can make some copper wire. I'm not even going to do it right now. That was a crashed spaceship. We'll go look at that in a second. Basically, those yield more research points. So put some copper in there. It'll come out copper wire over here. But we can't yet build a lightweight machine housing, which means there's some research that we need to do. So let's look under recipes. And there's a lot of stuff here. Ore Thief will pull ore out of your inventory. You will get bugged until you build one, so just build one so you don't have to fight with the game. You got to set it up. I mean, there has to be, you could just have it pull into hoppers or something like that, but you kind of got to set it up, hook it into your ore system and sorting and all that. So, I don't know, they bug you pretty early in the game. Garbage Thief will just pull crap out of your inventory. Barkeeper's more for like a multiplayer server. Anyway, we got lots of stuff here. We got turrets. Don't need those quite yet. An iron gear wheel maker and a lightweight machine housing crafter. So we need that. And it says cost 3. Why red? Okay, I thought it was red because we couldn't do it. Anyway, we know how to make that now. We're going to need this soon enough anyway, so let's just go ahead and research that. We really need servo motors anytime soon, I think. This is a solar cell, which we won't be able to build until we get lithium. We're going to want it, though. But go ahead and research it just so I don't run out of points and find myself needing it. This is a gun that we can build to shoot things with. I'm not going to bother with that just yet. We're going to learn to do basic drill motors, though. And do we want research assemblers and laboratory components? I suppose it's 18 points. We got 26, so let's go ahead and do that. I want a Mark 1 power core charger. That's going to make like a little portable battery that we can give Arthur. That will give him some more power. When we run out of power, Arthur gives us power. But if Arthur's out of power, he can't give us power. And it's very hard to see, but right above the toolbar, there's a blue bar, and that bar is Arthur's power charge level. So as he runs out, that will run down. And also, by the way, there's a little arrow on there. That is the direction to your central power hub. And then we have another option here too. If I press K, open up what's called the holobase, and all of your equipment will become visible even through things, so we can see our stuff is going on. It'll also show us problems. So for instance, this conveyor belt over here, it's not moving, so it's showing it to us in red, and that's why. So once it starts moving again, notice it goes white. So you can detect problems in your system. There's other things we can see on the holobase. See those little green cubes off in the distance? Those are bad guys, but they're inactive bad guys. The active bad guy is right over here. We can see his ugly mug through the mountain there. But what I'm wondering is, can we see him over this way? Also, this mode is a little okay, a little big drop off there. This mode is a little nausea-inducing if you play in it for too long, but you can just move around a bit in it. Yeah, there he is. Hello, buddy. This is a I don't know what the hell it's called, a hive beast. I think the big things are called hive minds. I don't know. Maybe this is a hive mind. Anyway, this little dude in here, he's just hanging out in his shell of of hardened resin, which we're going to scan right now. We can break this down and refine it and use it for stuff later. We'll have to, in fact, to get some of the advanced storages that are out there. But for now, he's just hanging out in there. But what's going to happen is below a certain level, I don't know the exact level. I think it's 70-ish, maybe. But I don't take chances with it. Because if you have ore sitting on a conveyor belt below that level and it's not protected by a laser beam, or even if it is and the laser beam's not fast enough, that ore will get consumed by little creatures that spawn on it. They're very creatively and originally called Minox. They will eat the ore and they will send the essence of it or whatever to this cat, who will extend his hardened resin, which we can't break, tendrils, and start to become a problem, especially if he gets near our base. So we don't want that to happen. So we're going to be very, very careful with our conveyor belts. We're going to make sure they're protected. I believe that the first tier of turret, the one that we already know how to make, is not quite good enough, because I think it takes a couple shots to kill those Minox, and by the time it has killed one, especially if it has multiple targets or you don't have overlapping turret coverage, it will have consumed some ore, send it to that guy, who will grow. Now later on, like I said, we can refine his shell, and if we kill him, one of these little green cubes off in the distance, they'll become active. But in the meantime, he'll stay our active one. So we can put ore on a conveyor belt next to him, or well, down below, and he'll grow. But if we're eating his shell off as he's growing, that's fine, right? So later on, we will talk about the care and feeding of hive minds. But for now, I ain't really worried about it. We're just not going to feed him. I'm not playing that game. He is not super close to the base, but he's close enough I don't like it. Now you notice we're getting warnings up there about no bars being produced. These things have got low storages. There's probably a couple warnings that have come across from Arthur about ore extractors offline. We're just going to turn these offline warnings off on these guys. I'm not too worried about it. Although I wouldn't mind finding out how big these veins are. Let's see. Okay, 1/3 of a million. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. That sounds like a lot. That won't last the whole game, and that's only 0.12 of a million. So we'll need to find some more, but that's fine. We'll get these out of the way. One of the big things about all these ore patches is they're just in the way. There's so much copper that's going to be on the map that we're really going to just... did I say copper? If I said copper, I meant coal. It's going to be on the map and in our way, and to the point that we're going to just start cutting through it, just getting rid of it. Now, if you remember, a spaceship crashed over here. We're going to go check it out. We do have some options for fast traveling there. You can see its smoke cloud and its beacon. We can walk around like this, jump. It's an auto step-up feature that I don't think you can turn off. We can also use a grappling hook, and if we press F, well, grappling hook will come out and it will pull us close. Now, that's great, although if you do it, like say up there, you're probably going to fall off, and hit the ground, so that's going to be painful. The other thing is we can have it pull us horizontally. If I do it here, we don't get a lot of pull, but if you point up just a block or two, pulls us a lot faster, and it'll pull us across gaps, and that's exactly what we're going to do right here. You do have to aim up a little bit of gravity adjustment. That's probably going to hit too low. Yeah, it is. So let me just aim up. Okay, I can't quite tell how far away that is. Should grab us about there and take us safely over, hopefully. Save us a lot of walking. Okay, not safely. Oh, okay, I didn't hit. I thought I was going to crash and burn, and that would be bad, but it did not. So just go down a little bit. Probably did that too low. Let's aim up a little bit. Takes me a while when I come back to this game after a little time of not playing it to get used to that again. So you too will get used to it. Yeah, we got a little bit of a drop off here. Now this thing can stop you from falling too. So if I do this and just kind of point it at the wall near my feet, it will slow you down as well. You gotta watch out how you do it. Sometimes it'll pull you back up, sometimes it'll drag you around, but you can get, there's a sweet spot that you can hit. It's gonna put it right where you need it to be. Is that an unknown block? It is. Cool. We'll look around for some more things to scan. I do believe we need some research points. We need to scan this. And then we need to grab it. Just right click, grab it. It is dark as hell over here. I'm gonna grab my light in case I need it. It's looking very red down there. Let's go see. Yeah, there's some underground plants here. We got some kind of mushrooms down here, and all these things can get scanned and give us more information as we go further down too. Like I said, I think there are a number of biomes underground, and so we'll learn about even more things as we go down there. Different kinds of rock, different kinds of plants. It's like we know about that. We know about that. Okay, let's get out of here. Now, where's the CPH, right? Well, while you're close to the CPH, I know it's super dark, guys. Sorry about that. And I think I'm going to have to dig my way up here a little bit. I think I've just hit some coal. I have. I can't see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a couple lights over here so we can see. It's just a piece of coal or a couple pieces of coal. Not that big a deal. Okay, yeah, we're not getting up that. Oh, hello. I didn't realize we were that far away, or that it would be this close to me. But this is one of the bad guys. Unfortunately, we've hit a bad stretch. See the glowy dome things over there, sitting on big Cthulhu tentacles? That is one of the big bad guys. There are 4 of these guys, and attacks are going to emanate from their direction and head towards our CPH, which we cannot see anymore. Alright, well, that's where the holobase becomes useful. And now we can see where it is. I think I'll just maybe try to jet over here. I may have aimed too low. I did. Get it up a little bit. Interesting skies on this planet, by the way. Yeah, so eventually we're going to blow that guy up. Well, actually, we're going to blow him and his 3 brothers and or sisters up. I don't know what they are. They may go by they. Probably do. Although they are a bit phallic, I guess. More Cthulhu than phallic, though. So, let's head home. And this video is getting a little bit long. I think we've covered the basics. We haven't gotten down to Tier 2 yet. We haven't done a lot of automation. But we did get through, I think, the basics of the game. So for those of you who never played before, that will hopefully help you out and help you decide whether this might be a game that you'd be interested in. I do recommend it. It's a bit derpy. There are some things in it that is kind of like, dude, why that, right? But for the most part, it's pretty involved, pretty interesting game. If you like games like Factorio or modded Minecraft, maybe, where you take machines, you hook them together, you automate stuff, but there's still some other kind of stuff going on too. You may find this game kind of interesting. I dig it. We're going to play it for a little while and see where we get to. I'd like to actually finish it. Maybe move on to Frozen Factory where we can fight the cryoplasm. But for now, let's just stick with the topic at hand here. I don't have enough ore in here, so I'm just going to be gathering up some tin and copper. Maybe I'll dig a hole and we'll start exploring downward. I may save that though. I mean, digging isn't exactly that interesting, but it doesn't take that long. So we'll get down pretty quickly and start looking for some iron and lithium. And when we get to those, we can start doing a little bit of next level stuff. For one thing, we'll be able to stay out a little longer. You can see I'm down to 194. I should probably come over here and charge myself. And we'll be able to stay out a little longer, be able to do a little bit more, and we'll be able to tech up because we'll be exploring new things and getting more research points and learning more recipes. There's going to be a lot of machines, let me tell you. We're going to be using these plates and wires, but there's plenty of other things we're going to be making. We're going to be making gear wheels, we're going to be making tin housings, and then from that we're going to be creating even more complicated gadgets. Sometimes we'll build a thing by hand, but a lot of times we'll want to have an automated process for it. Ideally, we'd want ore coming out of the ground automatically, getting into these automatically, getting smelted automatically, getting put into a big storage room, and then getting pulled out as needed by various automated processes to create a stack of things that we need to have on hand. And there are a whole bunch of different kinds of stacks of things we're probably going to want to have on hand. So anyway, we'll get into that next time around. Thanks very much for joining me on this inaugural Fiasco Factory series, FortressCraft Evolved. One of the grindiest games of all time, so I think it lives up to the channel's ethos. All right, see you soon. Bye.